Hello, my name is Derval O'Rourke and thank you so much for clicking play and listening to my chat. So just to begin, I will tell you a little bit of background about myself and how I came to be here speaking to you. In my first career, I was a track athlete. So I ran for Ireland. I represented Ireland in the 60 and 100 metre hurdles internationally. I had a 14-year track career. I competed at 3 Olympic Games, 5 World Championships and countless European Championships. In that time, I became World Indoor Champion. I won 4 European medals and went to 3 Olympic Games. It was an amazing career to have for me, and during that career I became very passionate about healthy lifestyle. I became very interested in how do we put measures in place to feel our best? What do we do day to day that can help us feel our best? In my career as a track athlete, I wanted to feel my best to ultimately perform on the track when I was wearing an Irish singlet. But since I retired, I want to feel my best just in my day-to-day life. I want to nourish myself well. I want to take care of myself. I want to live a long, healthy, happy life and be strolling down a beach in West Cork, you know, in my 80s or 90s, feeling good. That is my goal now in life, that I've hung up my spikes. So as I said, during my career, I became really passionate about the area of healthy lifestyle. I was extremely fortunate that I was surrounded by amazing experts, both in Ireland and outside of Ireland, when I travelled all around the globe competing. These experts really influenced my approach to food, my approach to fitness, my approach to my mental health. They really made me become a student of myself and how do I do the things that benefit me, essentially. So towards the end of my career, I became quite passionate about cooking, and I felt like to eat well, I needed to cook well, and to cook well, I needed to figure out how to do that. So I went to cookery school after the London Olympics in 2012 with the goal of writing a healthy, tasty, accessible cookbook. That was my aim. So that brings me to one of the main reasons I'm sitting here in front of you is my first book, which is Food for the Fast Lane. So this book is on the Healthy Ireland at Your Libraries list. So it is in every library in the country, which is an amazing, amazing thing to be able to say. It's not something that I ever thought I would be able to say. When I set out to write this, I looked at it in so many different ways. I thought, okay, how does food make me feel? What's the realistic for people in food? Like, how can we eat well to feel our best? So for me, one of the major areas I considered was food and mood. I know if I'm eating well, my mood is better. So what does that mean for me? It means waking up in the morning and having a good breakfast. Then it means between breakfast and lunch, having a snack that energizes me. Having a good lunch where I'm considering all the different foods that I'm putting into myself at lunch. Having a snack between lunch and dinner, and then having a well-rounded dinner. So when I was writing this book, I really wanted to make that simple for people. I wanted to make it doable, and I also wanted to share part of my journey because this book happened right at the end of my career. So you can see in the start there is my vest from when I competed in the Olympic Games in London. And being an Olympic athlete is such a major part of who I was in my previous career and who I am now, from going to 3 Olympic Games. So my book is called Food for the Fast Lane, and all of our lives are in the fast lane. We live in a world that is so incredibly busy and there's so much going on that it is our fast lane. So what foods do you feed yourself for your fast lane? If you get the book in your local library, you will see how in the start of the book I write my story about how everything is intertwined. On that picture you'll see there's written, find your strong. You have one life to live, and it's about finding the life that works for you and that suits you best. So what's your strong? So you can see here the messages all about my story. So in that journey you will read about when I went to my first Olympic Games. It was 2004. I was still I was just finishing up college, and I had this massive goal from 2000 to qualify for the Olympic Games. I was doing my leaving cert in 2000 when the Olympic Games happened in Sydney. And I just remember thinking, in 4 years' time, I want to be part of that party. I want to go to the Olympic Games. So in between Sydney and Athens, I went to college, I was studying for my degree, and I was progressing in my athletics career, and I ran the time to qualify for the Olympic Games, which back then was 12.96 seconds. So in what I used to do, there's not a lot of room for maneuver. It was 12.96 seconds to book your plane ticket to the Athens Olympics, not 12.97, not 13 seconds, 12.96 seconds or faster. I ran exactly 12.96 seconds and I qualified for the Olympic Games. I was really excited about this. It was such a massive opportunity. It was a goal that I had strived towards. But a few weeks, about 4 or 5 weeks before that Olympic Games, I ended up getting severe food poisoning and an appendicitis, and I was in a hospital in Greece for 6 days. That experience had a huge impact on how I would look at my health. I was completely depleted. I went to the Olympic Games. I was just so devastated to be in such a kind of bad physical way that I couldn't perform at my best, and it really made me look at myself and take some responsibility. And from that point forward, in 2004, I started really, really thinking about my food. So I would say that is the start point of this book, is 2004, getting sick, realizing, okay, what can I do to really mind myself? So that story is in here in Food for the Fast Lane. Then, I put in really practical information. So when you're thinking about your food, there's no point in trying to be perfect. Perfection does not exist. But you have to be practical. So what practical things can you do? The first one for me is the food shop. I think the food shop is central to eating well. The different areas I look at, I'm like, okay, what dairy am I going to buy? What vegetables, fruit, eggs, frozen foods are going to go into my food shop, meat, fish. And I look at those areas. Before I go out the door to do my food shop, I check the cupboards, I check the fridge, I check the freezer. I do like an audit of my kitchen. So what do I have in my kitchen that I don't need to buy? And what do I have that I want to use up? So I don't want stuff sitting in my presses that's never used. I want foods that I can use. So I'll do that little audit before I leave. Then I go and I do my grocery shops. And one of the things I talk about in this book is tips for when I'm at my grocery shop. So bring a list. That's really, really important. If you can, go to more than one place, like you might want to go to a good local butcher's, as well as you might want to go to a local fish shop if you have time and if it allows for it. A great element of food shopping that's happened recently is online food shopping. It's something that before the world was in a pandemic, I was doing on and off, because you can go there, you can see your previous shops. It's really good to take care of your budget doing your online food shopping. So do consider setting up an online account with a local supermarket. That's really important. So I think, just getting those basics right. Think about what foods you're having, and are there kind of easy swaps for them? So, are you someone who's drinking tea and coffee? And if so, and I'm saying this whilst drinking a cup of coffee with you, it is delicious. I used to have sugar in my coffee, and I used to do it very mindlessly. Put in a load of sugar, have my sugar, and I used to consider that was me having sugar during the day until I became aware of it. So when it comes to you and food, just think about those habits. Think about, what are you doing that's an easy win for you? So if it comes to something like, tea and coffee, putting in sugar, try and reduce that down if possible. Ideally to nothing. I don't have any sugar in my coffee anymore. I gave it up about 5.5 years ago. So you can too. So think about that. When it comes to your cooking oils, that's another easy win for you. Mix up your cooking oils. For me personally, I cook with rapeseed oil, olive oil, and occasionally coconut oil. So think about that. If you're using cream, maybe you could put in some natural yogurt instead of cream. Another great idea, if you use a lot of mayonnaise, maybe some Greek yogurt instead of mayonnaise. So think about those easy, simple wins for yourself. Then I would say a big pro when you're thinking about your food and healthy lifestyle is, and I can't make this exciting for you, I'm sorry, but it's a really good tool, is to do a food and mood diary. And what I mean by that is take a few days, maybe a Thursday, Friday and a Saturday, so you're getting some midweek days and some weekend days, and write out a very honest food diary. In that diary, write down the time. So what time are you having breakfast? What are you eating for breakfast? All the times of the foods you're eating, and then you'll have one column for food, one column for mood. Do this for a few days. Be completely honest when you're doing it. Be completely honest and do that, and see basically at the end of it, what are your habits? Like, is there days where maybe you had a big bar of chocolate because you felt a bit frazzled and stressed and busy? Is it that you forgot to eat lunch and instead you had a packet of crisps and a bar of chocolate? I know for me, when I eat foods that don't really nourish me, it's because I've either undereaten that day because I've gotten so busy, or else maybe something else has happened that I find stressful. So really do start getting to know yourself and thinking about that. So a food and mood diary is absolutely brilliant for that. A big area in recent years that you'd hear about a lot is our gut health. So when I'm talking about gut health, mainly the microbiome contains trillions of cells. It's found all over the body. The majority of the cells are found in our bowel, and they're linked directly to our energy production, our happy hormones, our immune system, and so much more. So the food for these cells is fiber, and it feeds the microbiomes in your gut. So that is something to really consider. So things that are good for your microbiome, think your fermented foods, high fiber foods such as bananas, apples with their skins on, garlic, onion, leeks, seeds like chia seeds, flax seeds, bone broths. Things that are not so great for your gut health would be poor diet, saturated fats, processed foods, alcohol, artificial sweeteners. So they really believe that gut health is so linked to your overall health. There's certain lifestyle aspects that will help this. Ensure that you have a good sleep routine. So for me personally, in a sleep routine, that means that my room is a mobile phone free zone. I don't bring my mobile phone into my bedroom. I leave it downstairs at night. I try to have a pattern of going to bed at night. I'll read for a period of time. I love to read, and I like to read books. I don't love electronic versions of books. I like to read real books that I can hold and touch. I think there's something very special about a book. So for me, with my sleep and trying to keep my gut health good, I am thinking about like how am I doing that in the evening. So first off, no phone. Secondly, I like a good book. Thirdly, I like to keep my room quite clean. I'm not a naturally organized, tidy person, but when it comes to my bedroom, I don't like a mess. I like it very simple. I like to keep my window a little bit open at night for some natural air to come in. And for me, that's a really good sleep zone. I try and get up at the same time every morning, and I go to bed roughly at the same time most evenings. So for me, they would be some of my tips on sleeping well. I think sleep is massively underestimated, and it is a huge performance enhancer in your life. Whether you are, like I was before, trying to jump a hurdle at the Olympic Games, or whether you're just trying to do the best you can at your job or feel your best, really consider your sleep. A few simple healthy habits. Eat more fruit and veg, particularly vegetables. Really challenge yourself to eat more veg. I challenge myself every day. My starting point in most meals is, okay, where's the veg going to go in here? The next thing would be get off the couch. It is so tempting to sit here. I'm sitting on my lovely couch. I'm so cozy, but move. Moving is so good for you. Your body craves it. So get off that couch, get moving. I don't believe that anyone cannot learn to cook. We can all cook. It is a life skill. So start upskilling yourself on cooking. Borrow this book from the library. There's lots of recipes in here that will give you ideas. So learn to cook. Consider your whole grain. So instead of white bread, maybe switch over to wholemeal bread. Wholemeal rice, wholemeal pasta. So do consider those whole grains in your diet. I try to have breakfast every single day without fail. Breakfast is such an important part of my routine. It sets me up for the day, and it just really kickstarts my day. Reduce the bad fats and increase the good fats. So instead of those saturated fats, start thinking about your nuts and your seeds, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, some avocado. That's really good in your diet. Watch your portions. This is a really important point. Consider your lifestyle and what portions you need for that. For me, every time I'm having my dinner, I get my hand. The plate is no bigger than my hand. I'm able to put my hand on my plate and I put the food in that space. I use the same plate every time. I go, half of my plate is veggies, a quarter of my plate is protein, so it'll be like my fish, my meat, my beans, or my lentils. The other quarter of my plate is my carbs, and then I might have some healthy fats on the top. So the carbs could be potato, sweet potato, rice, pasta, and then the healthy fats I might sprinkle, I might do a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, or I might sprinkle some nuts and seeds on top. So do consider your portioning. A point that I think we all are starting to come to as people is how important it is to be mindful and to be in the moment. So try as far as possible when you are having your meals to be in that, be having your meals, taste your food, sit there, appreciate that time that you have to nourish your body, appreciate if there's people with you, who those people are. Just appreciate those moments and be grateful for it, because that has an impact as well on your body. That taking those moments to just level, be present and be in the now is very, very important. Cut back on salt. Be careful of that habit with salt, of just throwing a bit of salt on, and taste your food. Cut back on your salt and just taste your food. Okay, so breakfasts. Try to mix up your breakfast. There's loads of breakfast recipes in here that will keep you motivated. I have different breakfasts all the time. I'll have oats one day, I'll have eggs and wholemeal toast the next day. I might make some breakfast muffins, put them in the freezer, take one out the night before to defrost. So many different options. So do challenge yourself to have variety. Variety is so important and essential. When it comes to your lunches, go for your easy wins. And what I mean by that is a lot of us are working from home now, and even if you're not working from home, if you cook a really healthy meal at night or in the evening, make sure you cook that little bit extra for your lunch the next day. So there you're just cooking once, eating twice. Consider batch cooking. Batch cooking is such an important part of eating well for me, that I couldn't live without it, because I don't have time to cook twice a day and to cook every day. So do consider those meals that are easy to cook extra of and have options for the next day. Beautiful picture in my book here is sort out your ingredients in those presses. Even if the only thing you do from this talk is go through what's already in your kitchen, throw out what's been there for months or years, and stock for success. Put the foods in your pantry that you want to be eating and that make you feel well. You know, as I said, become a student of your own body and what makes you feel good. Listen to yourself. Listen to how you feel and those reactions from doing stuff. I would say anybody who is doing exercise, which I hope most of you are doing, exercise and food are such an important mix. I think if you're brilliant at your exercise but you're not eating well, it's, you know, like having a Ferrari and not giving it the proper fuel that it needs to go. So you are a Ferrari and you need to give yourself the fuel. Some tips I would give you on exercise would be try and get out most days. Try and get out, get some air, even if the weather is not good. If that means just getting outside your front door, taking in some big gulps of air, it is so, so important. So get outside, get your air. Move, get your heart rate up. I aim for 3 or 4 times a week for 30 minutes. So heart rate up, move 3 or 4 times a week, 30 minutes. You can do it. The next one I would say is do activities that bring joy to your life. If there's certain types of exercises that bring you joy, keep putting those in, because life is too short not to enjoy it. And there's so many different ways to move your body that absolutely do try and do ways that make you joyful. The next I would say is stay connected. That has become increasingly harder for us, where we might have gone to certain clubs, a football club, a GAA club, a running club, and now that's much harder to do. Stay connected online. Consider, what are your online resources to exercise and feel well and your best. Now, there's so many recipes in here. I could just sit here and start reading them out to you, but I'm afraid that might be a bit boring for you. I hope you love this book. I hope it's one that you will pick up at your local library and that it inspires you to feel well, nourish yourself, and move your body. Thank you so much for listening to me. And yeah, mind yourself. Thank you. Bye.